Hi everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul and today's video is called Networking 101. It's called Networking 101 for a couple different reasons. First of all, we're going to go over some basics of home networking. Also though, it's our 101st video, so I wanted to say a very big thank you to all of you loyal fans out there who have been watching all of our videos since we started posting them a little over a year ago. Also, in our most recent video last week, there were several posters who congratulated us on reaching the 100 video mark, and also asking us if we were going to celebrate by handing out any free stuff. I'm happy to say that we have something in the works. I don't have a lot of details for you right now, but stay tuned in the next couple weeks and we will be announcing a little thank you event for our loyal viewers. But I digress. So moving on, we are talking about networking today, and I've gone so far as to actually organize today's video into 5 separate points that I'm going to talk about to give you some tips and tricks for home networking. And our first tip is get a good router. And while that may seem like nothing more than a shameless plug for our featured product, the Linksys E3000 here, it's key to have a full-featured router if you actually want to make good use of your home network after you've gone to all the trouble of setting it up. So, as mentioned, here's our Linksys E3000. I'm going to go over the features on this product because it's a really good example of why we chose it. First of all, it supports WPA and WPA2 encryption, which are the higher levels of security and much better than WEP. It also has features for streaming stored music and video. It has 300 megabits per second wireless speed using the 802.11n wireless transfer protocol. It also has gigabit Ethernet, so if you're using wired Ethernet, it can transfer data at up to 1,000 megabits per second if you have a compatible network card on your computer. It also has extended wireless coverage for larger homes, and it is dual band, meaning it can operate both on the 5 gigahertz and the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth, which is key if you want to do streaming video as well as data, and we'll come back to that. Also, finally, it has a USB port which you can use to create a network-attached storage by just plugging in an external hard drive. Again, a feature that we're going to get back to. So let me pop this open and we'll move on to our next tip. So now that we have our router unboxed, it's time to move on to tip number 2, which is know the parts of your home network. I apologize to those of you who are already familiar with setting up a home network. This part is going to be really basic. It's really important to know the different components of a home network though, because it will allow you to troubleshoot if you have any problems. It will also allow you to expand your home network if you want to add anything in the future. I'm assuming you're working with a broadband internet connection, either DSL or cable, and that you've contacted an internet service provider to come and install it. They will run a new internet connection probably through your existing phone line if you're using DSL, or through your coaxial lines if you're using cable. So our ISP is over here, our computer is over here, here's our DSL line coming in. They will also provide you with a cable modem to connect that to. So unfortunately I don't have one with me. My roommate wanted to be able to use internet today. So hopefully through the magic of post-production we can use my Newegg cup here as a cable modem. So there you go. Next, you will want to plug that cable modem either directly into your computer, but that's not really a home network. That will just provide you with internet. Or you can plug it into your router, which will let you set up the network. That is done using a simple length of Ethernet cord, such as this one, which you don't usually have to tape, but we're working with what we have here. You will take that Ethernet cord and you will plug it into your router. And fortunately our E3000 has a nice clearly labeled internet plug. So now what you've done is you've provided your internet connection to your router, and now your router can share that internet connection either wirelessly or via a wired connection using the built-in gigabit Ethernet hub that we have there on the back. So that's pretty much the basic components of a home network. You have the cable or DSL line coming in, your cable modem provided by your ISP, some Ethernet cable running to your router, and from there it's just a matter of what you're going to connect to that router to share that Ethernet connection, and also to share data in between the devices that are connected to it. One final note, if you are planning to run a lot of Ethernet cable in your home, which a lot of people try to do because running an actual cable gives you a little bit more security, more speed if you use gigabit, and it's also just a little bit more reliable as far as dropping the connection from time to time. You can save some money by getting a crimper such as this one and buying a spool of Ethernet cable. You pretty much just measure out the length of Ethernet cable you want, you splice the wires, you have the little Ethernet head right there, which you pop into your crimper, crimp it down, and then you have a custom length of cable that you can use to wire up your home for a home network. So now we're moving on to tip number 3, which is know how to control your router. If you buy a router like this one that has all these special features, you're never going to actually make use of them unless you know how to actually get into the router, mess with the controls, and set up everything just how you want it. So first off, Cisco is going to kill me if I don't mention that the E3000 does come with a total setup disk. You are supposed to put this into your computer first, run it, and that will guide you through the installation and setup process. However, since I'm trying to gear this video towards folks who might not be using this exact make and model of router, I'm going with the more manual method, so I have done what they advise not to do, and I've just plugged everything in. We're using Windows 7 here, and the first thing that we have pop up is set network location. So I'm going to choose home network to set up a home network. Windows 7 is awesome with networking. It's going to automatically go in, detect my current settings and configuration, and it will do its best to set me up just as is. Once that connected, so with Windows 7 I can choose to automatically share pictures, music, videos, and printers. I'm just going to select next for now. You can learn more about home groups if you want, and home groups automatically generates a password as well. Since we don't have any other computers connected, we are just going to skip that option for right now. And now it should automatically go in and set us up with an internet connection. Now, you can have an active connection from your computer to your router, but if your router does not have an active connection to the internet, then you won't actually be able to connect to the internet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go over to my accessories. I'm going to right-click on a command prompt. I'm going to run as administrator, and that will pull up a command prompt. At the command prompt, type a simple command, ipconfig, then a space, and then /all. What that's going to do is it's going to spit out all of your current network information. And what you need to find is for your currently connected internet card, which is my Realtek card here, what is my default gateway? And the default gateway, about 98% of the time, is going to be 192.168.1.1. So I basically take that and I punch it into my internet browser, 192.168.1.1. I hit enter, and that's automatically setting up, it wants the default username and password for my router. Now this is part of the reason why the E3000 wants you to go through this setup first, because what that will do is have you set up an admin name as well as a password. For now, we're going to use the defaults, and defaults are usually admin. Let's see if I'm right on that one. And yes, I am. Okay. Again, this Cisco router has a lot of features that are tied in with the software. This is the manual method, so if you're using this router, you probably use the software. But for those of you who don't have a router with built-in software, this is how you can manually log in via the internet or via a web browser. Just giving me a little error message there. And now that I've popped this up, we can see lots of different options here. There's a setup, there's a tab for your wireless, there's a tab for security as well for storage, access restrictions, applications and gaming, administration, and status. But that is a quick and basic tutorial on how to log into your router, and using this or using the software that comes with your router, you can do either one, will give you the ability to actually go in there and take control of all of the options. So now that you know how to set up your home network and you know how to log into your router to adjust the settings, tip number 4 is secure your network. Now if you notice, when I first set up the router, I was able to log into it using the default admin name and password. So you definitely want to change those, because all routers have a default one and most people can access those. If you leave it as that, anyone who can connect to your network will be able to log into your router. There's one other password to change as well, and that is your wireless password for people who are connecting via Wi-Fi. So I'll show you how to change both of those. For the E3000, we head over to the administration tab. There's just a field here for the router password to enter it and then re-enter to confirm, save settings, and then you've updated your router password. For your wireless security, And actually, we're getting into tip 4B now as well. For wireless security, you also want to not broadcast your SSID. And SSID stands for Secure Set Identifier. And that's if you have a let's say a laptop, and you search for wireless networks, you get a list there. You'll notice some will have a name and some don't have a name. If you don't broadcast that name, it just makes it that much more difficult for anyone to log into your router. For our basic wireless settings, Wi-Fi protected setup is sort of the guided system that the E3000 has. I'm going to switch over to manual. And once I'm in this mode, you'll notice I actually have two wireless networks. That's because it's a dual band router, 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. Each one has a network name, and it's just the default Cisco and a number right now. And then it also has some other settings for each wireless network here. So I would just go ahead and change that SSID name, and then right here under SSID broadcast, if I switch that to disabled, no one will be able to see that when they're searching for wireless networks. Use encryption. The original encryption method for wireless networks was WEP, which is Wireless Equivalency Protocol, I believe. There is a newer one called WPA, and then an even newer one called WPA2. The E3000 supports a mixed mode, but we're going to go ahead and head over to wireless security. Security right now is WPA2, WPA mixed mode. There's a few different options here. WPA or WPA2, definitely the ones you want to use. Also, here is where you change your wireless passphrase. And again, you'll notice there's two options because of the dual band capability that the E3000 has. Definitely want to update both of those. Password is pretty easy to hack. So once you've updated those, then folks who try to connect to your wireless network will need to enter whatever password you set up. Final tip in this little subcategory is MAC filtering, and this is a little bit more advanced, but every network card has what's called a MAC address. Whether you're using a laptop or whether you're using a desktop, your Ethernet card has a unique MAC address that only matches up to that card. What you can do, and actually here's the wireless filter for it, you can pretty much set up any MAC address. So if you know the MAC address of your machines, and when you do that ipconfig all, you can actually see your MAC address. You can block MAC addresses, you can just check MAC addresses, you can see if other people have been connecting to your network, because routers will keep a log of who's connected, what MAC address they have, and how long they were connected for. So those are just a few tips on securing your wireless network. So our final tip for today's Networking 101 video is, oh my gosh, use your network. Setting up a router and a home network is useful for a lot more things than just sharing an internet connection. One of the cool things you can do is to use it for network attached storage. So over here is a Netgear home media network storage device, and what that does is plugs in via an Ethernet cable to your router, and then you can access it from different computers that are also connected. Plugs in via the gigabit switch, and again, gigabit is very handy to have if you're using a network attached storage device like that. But if you have something like the E3000 here, this is our router, and just going to unplug it real quickly. On the back, you have a USB port, and this USB port can serve as a network attached storage for any external drive like this Seagate GoFlex we have here. All you do is plug your external drive into that USB port. The router will automatically recognize it. Via the interface that I showed you there, you can actually access that drive and set it up for different backup and storage functions. Next, you can also use your network for as a media extender. So you can use devices such as this WD TV Live from Western Digital, or the Free Agent GoFlex TV from Seagate. These both serve as media extenders. You plug them into your router on one hand and into your TV or your home theater on the other hand. They can access the music or movies you have stored on the network and play them on your home theater. The PlayStation 3 also has a network connection. PlayStation 3 as well as Xbox can also serve as a media extender just like these guys, but they also work as a game system as well. So those are just a few examples of some of the fun things that you can do once you've got your home network all set up. Thanks for watching today's video, everyone. My name's Paul. We'll see you next time on Newegg TV.